everybody, Kat from Creative Crafts here, and I want to welcome you to my channel. And what today's DIY is going to be making a lantern out of Pringles containers. Just want to say, I can't, we don't have Dollar Store or Dollar General or, you know, Christmas Tree Shop, Walmart, all those awesome places, or Christmas Tree, or all these awesome shops with Christmas decorations that you can buy and revamp them. I guess that's what a lot of the videos are right now today on YouTube. We don't have that here in Germany, and in Germany they don't have such a large variety of Christmas decorations and stuff, or things that you can make Christmas decorations with. I was at the hardware shop. I wanted to make the lantern, you know, one of those street lanterns with a pole that you could buy that looks like a leg and paint that wooden one. They don't sell those things here. If you want to buy stuff like that, you have to buy it from a huge company, or you have to go to a place that's probably does warehouse work or stuff like that. Anyway, I have to improvise of what I can do and what I can make here in Germany. They do have great stuff, believe me, but they don't have the options like you have in the States. Right now they have, you know, these options with this red truck thing. They don't have red trucks here, so I had to make my own. I made this out of cardboard. And I made, you know, I wanted to make a decorations with it. So the only way I could do it is like this. I printed out a pattern, traced it, made it look like a 3D, you know, kind of. Did whatever I could with my drawing. I don't have good drawing skills anyway. And I was at a place called Action, and I was really surprised to see that they had these here in there. This is the first time I saw that here in Germany. And I've been looking for a, you know, pattern like this, but black and white. And I can tell you, the only place and most likely I can buy it would be cheaper for me if I bought it from Wish. And usually the products from Wish are not the best. They do have great products, believe me. I will make a video on some of the things I bought from Wish, and they're really good. But I bought this at a place called Action, and I was really happy to see that they had some stuff here that I could really use for some of my decorations on my videos that I'm going to be making in the near, you know, for the Christmas decorations and stuff like that. And I was really amazed to see this. They had, you know, they have the green and they have the red, but they didn't have the black and white. So I might go back there and see if I can go through all the books that they have. They had a few of them. If they had a black and white, you know, the buffalo check. But they had this one, so I bought it. I think I paid like $3 for it, €3. So it would be like almost $4 maybe. So it's not as cheap as you could do in the States. But anyway, I'm happy with what I can do with here. I'm the recycle queen, like I told you before. And I'm making, instead of trying to use a wood piece, I'm going to be using these Pringle cans. A box here, it's a present box, gift box. And you want to know how I made that? Watch further. Well, the first thing I did was, of course, I cut a hole in the box here to fit the Pringles cans. The things for this project that you're going to need is, of course, the gift box. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Pringle cans. Tape them all together, all the way up. And the only one that I filled with dirt from outside, I didn't buy sand or use any of my good rocks that I use for decorations. I went outside and I filled, make sure it was, of course, dry sand, dry dirt or whatever. And I filled the bottom can with that, covered it up, and then I put all the rest of them on. Like I said, I used this box, and I cut a hole in the box. I put the Pringle can in, pulled the cover up before I taped it, pulled the cover up while it was connected, and I poured, you know, I found a lot of rocks and, you know, dirt, and I filled this up. So it's pretty stable. It will not tip over. You can use sand at your home if you have a sandbox. You can use sand. Just make sure it's dry and it's not moist or wet, because this will make mold, and you don't want to do that. So make sure whatever you put inside these containers are dry. So the first thing I did, of course, as you can see, after I filled it all up, I taped all the sides, you know, and I taped the container here, and then it was wobbling a lot. So I decided to put glue, hot glue all around here. You're going to say, well, that's not going to look good after you paint everything. And I said, well, that's not the truth. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this with like some kind of cotton to make it look like snow, or maybe fake snow. So you're not going to even notice this. So that's what you have to use your mind and what you can do with this. So now what I did this. This is very easy part. And what we're gonna use now for the lanterns, the card I'm gonna use for a different project. I bought 4 picture frames. So of course what you're gonna do is you're gonna take these picture frames. They're pretty cheap ones. I try to find some most normal looking ones, and this is the only one that looked pretty much normal. I didn't have much decorations on it, only here, but that's not going to bother me. So normally what I do is when I make a lantern, I have a lot of videos on how to make these lanterns. So these Christmas lanterns, wind lights, or whatever you want to call it, Windlicht, they call it in German. And how you can do that is really easy. So check out those videos. I'll put a link on it on my video so you can see it. And I paid $1 for this, and this is not plastic, it's glass. So I'm really surprised about that. So now what you want to do is you're going to take these things off, because you don't want them to be showing, because when you put this down, you're going to see them sticking out on the side of the glass. So how you're going to take those out is you take some pliers, if you can find some. I know I have some here, little ones. There's these little things here for jewelry. And what you can do is just pull them out. I put them aside. Who knows, I can probably reuse them for something. You never know. Take these out. And there you go. And what you can do now is, we're going to do this to all 4 frames. And then the next step, which is taking the glass and gluing it back on. So I'm just going to put the glass in, heat up my glue gun, and then we'll be back with all the rest of the next steps. So everybody, as you can see, I already put glue all on the 4 corners. That's all you need to do. And put that aside and let that cool just a tad. You don't want to move everything around too fast. So we're going to put that aside. And I have a quick tip for you, what you can use with these. I took some of that cardboard paper, and now I'm just going to add some glue. Work fast, because the glue can be really quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this on here, flatten it out really well. If you want, what you could do is go like this. And it's totally flat. You're going to take a pair of scissors. And of course, you're going to go and make it all even. As even as you can. I just went a little overboard here. There we go. Now that we're done with this part, this is just to show you what you could do with the back of the picture frame, so you don't have to throw them away. You can do this, and then for the sides, what you can do is really quickly add these to the sides here. Try not to add too much glue. Try not to burn your fingers. And you do that to all the sides. Just a quick tip today to add to the video. What you could do with this so you don't have to throw it away. Another cute little decoration. You don't have to do it for Christmas. You can also use different other kind of papers to make it a farmhouse looking picture frame. I'm just doing this for now to show you what you could do with this to go as with decorations in your on your tables or picture, you know, next to other picture frames. Just add. You can use a thicker one if you want. I, for one, like to use these thinner ones, especially if it's for a small picture frame. If it's a thicker picture frame, then maybe. So, and what I'm going to do is go like this. Make sure you put it on evenly. And then you cut the two ends off, of course. And so that's perfect. So now what you want to do is you're going to take the burlap, well, they're not burlap, but it's jute rope. And you're going to go on to in the front area here too now to make it like a cute little picture frame. So now what I'm going to do is take my rope, make sure that it's twined correctly. I don't want any frazzles. And you can go around as many times as you want. I just prefer once or maybe twice to make it. Do it until you're satisfied on how it looks. If you're from the States and you have any of those cute little trucks, red trucks, the little ones, little papers, you can glue one on here with a Christmas tree on top if you want. Or you can add some other cute little decorations to it. I don't have really much here. Like I said, I would love to have all that stuff, but we don't have all those crafty things here in Germany. And it's not as cheap. So if I want to have something, I would have to really spend a good amount of money on, which, because of these corona sites, I no longer have a job. So, can no longer look for another job at the moment because most of the shops here are closed. Well, the schools and stuff. So, we'll just go with this. I just try to go with the flow. And anything that's sticking out and you don't like it, I suggest that you just cut it off. And you do that. You have your little picture frame. Let's look for something that I can, you know, stick on there to make it look cool. Let's see what else did I put all the stuff that I bought. So let's close this one up. Well, I have this here that I had from another project that I took off. So what I could do is, you know, stick it on, glue on the tree, and there we go. We have a cute little decoration. If you want to add some of this stuff here to it too, you can do that too. Put it on the side. Of course, my glue gun doesn't want to work for me today. And stick that here. And we have this cute little decoration. I'm going to let that cool first. And then we have our little decoration here. You can use for anything. I don't like how that looks up here. So let's cut that extra off. That looks better. So there you go. And you can use anything. You can use a normal like background with the clouds or whatever. Or a different kind of decoration paper. You can use wrapping paper. You can use any kind of thing you want to use. You could also just paint it if you want and then do the same thing. But this is, I like to recycle and I don't want to throw anything away. So this is just a quick tip what you could do with this, the back end of the picture frames. So now let's go to the next step for my little lantern here that we're making. So let me heat up my glue gun and then we'll go to that step. Alright, everybody, now it's time to glue all these things together. This is just something you could use for the top. But right now, like I said, what you need to do is stick the glue here on one side. Be careful you don't get burned. This glue can be very hot. And you take your piece and you put it directly on the end and make sure that it's even with the whole side and that it's straight. That cool. You can use E6000 or some another kind of tough glue if you want, but I'm doing it like this. So I'm going like this here. So do the same thing. Try to stick it from one side and then push it towards the inside, not pushing it outwards, because then the glue will go down the sides. If it does, you can still fix that. Make sure that it's straight upwards and not tilting. I mean, if it is, you can still fix it. And which the next step is you take your glue and you stick it on this part of the frame. You can use wood, you can use the plastic. Doesn't matter what kind of frames you use. I just bought whatever was the cheapest one, and the ones that I thought looked good. So the perfect size, of course. And then I'm going to now stick this from the outside towards the inside. And the same thing goes to this one here. Lift it up. And before the glue starts to get too hard, make sure that you have your frame perfect. So, there we go. It's sticking out in some places. I can take a knife and cut it down, cut it off a little bit. That's no problem. So now what you want to do is you want to make a bottom. And how you're going to do that is cardboard, of course. So I'm going to take my cardboard and take my knife. Not knife, my... let's do it this way. So I'm going to put this to the side. So I'm going to cut this first across. Make sure you're even. It doesn't have to be perfect at the first glance of the cut. You just want to make sure that you get the bottom covered. And then you can cut the rest off later. If you want, you can stick some kind of sticky paper on it, or you can paint it before you glue it on. But I'm going to be sticking some fake snow or some moss inside. So I'm just going to glue this, go ahead and glue this on there right now so that I know that I have it in a good place, you know, standing in the right position. This is for the bottom. It's not very heavy. It's not going to be heavy. So you don't have to worry about the bottom, you know, breaking from anything. If you're going to put something heavy on it inside, then I suggest that you use maybe a double the cardboard. You can do that too. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stick the cardboard on. Make sure I cut it right. Oh, I think I cut the cardboard. Oh, I cut it perfect. That's good. Almost perfect. I just still got to cut some ends off to it. But that's fine. We can use an X-Acto knife if you want. Or you can use your scissors. Like I said, make sure it's not bent. And what you do is just cut it in a slant. And that's how you can tell if you... There you go. You're going to paint this later. So it doesn't have to be perfect. And if you think you can cut more off, go right ahead. I wouldn't worry about this. The only thing I would do is maybe stick some hot glue here on the sides. To cover up the indents from here. So that you don't have the indents from the cardboard there. So I would cover that area up with the glue. You won't worry about what it's going to look like on the bottom because no one's really going to notice. Notice that when you're done decorating the whole thing. So now I'm going to put my extra cardboard on the side, let that cool, and show you what I did here. Like I said, I filled this up with sand, dog, dirt, whatever you have, rocks from outside. And I added all of these. Let me put this onto the floor. And I'll show you here what I did. As you can see here, this is what I did. See how high it is? I put it about that high. And what I'm going to do now when I'm done with my frame, you're going to take it and I'm going to glue this. The floor is a little bit crooked. There, it's perfect now. I'm going to glue this on top of here. If you can see what I'm talking about. Oops, no you can't. There we go. That's better. So I'm going to glue this, make sure it's in the middle, exactly in the middle. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to paint this whole thing. But before I repaint and do anything, I want to make the cover for it. Make the cover on the top. So we're going to do that next. So let's get to the next step. So the next step is just debating what you want to use for the top. Do you want to make it out of cardboard or do you want to make it out of these Jenko blocks? I got these for 99 cents at one of the shops, and you can use these for everything, and this is the last one I have. So right now I'm just going to check and see how many I'm going to need. So definitely on that part. So let's see. I need 2 rows of that. You know, I know using a measuring stick will probably help, but you know me. So I'm going to need 2, 4, 6, 7. So 4, 6, 7. I should have done this before, like this. Yeah, I'm alright. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue all these pieces together. You can use a whole piece of wood if you want. And I have 2 extra pieces, so what I could do is I could stick these up here and use that, make it look like a cover. If you just want to have something more in depth, and you want to make something that goes like this, then I would suggest that you use cardboard. The only thing is, you're going to have to make it by hand because you're going to need something that you can take up and down to shut lights off or put some new decorations in. So this is what I'm going to do. And we also need to tape the inside area where the glass is. I should have painted this before, but I wanted to paint the whole thing at one time. So what I suggest is that you can make 4 corners here. It's your choice, but I think I'm going to go with the Jenga blocks because it's easier for me right now. The rest is a little bit too complicated. So I'm just going to add all these blocks together. First I'm going to do 1 row. So everybody, I glued them all together as you can see here. It's pretty stable. And I found this old doorknob handle from my kitchen. And I decided, even though it has a heart, I'm still going to glue it onto this little area here. Make sure that it's in the middle so that we can have something to lift the top up and down when we need to. I decided, since I'm using the Jenga blocks and they're a little bit heavier, I decided to double the bottom. So I put 2 more pieces, but I put them one smaller than the others, and then I put glue on the sides like I said before. And now what I want to do is I'm going to stick something on top of this before I paint, because what's going to happen is once you paint this here with something wet, the whole thing is going to wobble, and you don't want that to happen. So I'm going to try to figure out what I can use so that the wetness doesn't go through. And I figured it out. I thought, you know, maybe I could use, you know, one of these bottoms on here too. Take this off and stick that on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take this bottom off without, you know, breaking the whole thing. And what you have to do is, of course, press down so that this area is flat. And I'm going to stick this here because once these sides get a little bit wet and it starts to boil, nothing's going to happen to this part. And this is going to stay totally flat. So I'm hoping. Or what we could do, I'm going to put tape on here. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to use some good thick tape because I don't want it to warp. You don't want your glue, the box here, to warpen. You know, it will not look good. So I will just take some tape and stick it on there. I'm definitely going to overlap it so that the paint does not seep through. Because when you're working with cardboard, you got to remember it's going to warp if it gets wet. So, and that's why whenever you use, you do paper mache, or you do the video on what I did there for the glue. Not for the glue, for the clay. before you put clay on cardboard, what you have to do is you have to do paper mache over it, let it dry, and then once that's dried, because paper mache doesn't make it warp so much, says it's not so wet. So I'm just going to go like this. No one's going to really notice the bottom here because once I paint it. So now that I tape this all up, I can start painting it once I want to. You can spray paint, you can use normal paint. I'm going to use, I've decided I'm not going to use this now. I'm going to paint this whole thing black, of course, because it's a lantern for outside. The same thing goes for the air thing for the, oh, I can't even speak today, man. So now, the next step is preparing everything for the paint. This is what I'm talking about, this area here. You can see all this here. So now what I want to do is I'm going to put tape on it, or, I mean, it's like this because of the chair. You could use something like this. It's like a plastic wrap to make it look silver, but it's supposed to be old, so I'm going to put black paint on it. And I don't want no one to see this here, so what I have to do is maybe wrap this whole thing with some tape, and then I can paint it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this, and just So everybody, I painted everything, and I decided what I wanted to do is the top of all the Pringles containers, they have this little cover on it. And I decided to make it much more stable, I decided to cut a hole through the first two and leave the bottom one with no hole in it. You leave it. And I'm going to Then I can see that it's not going to move. It's going to be, I probably have that so close, sorry. So I took the Pringles container, the one I have extra, and I made a circle, and I make sure that it fit in there snugly so it doesn't move. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until this dries, because I finished painting everything black. I'm going to paint this, of course, silver. And when I'm done painting, painting this, I can, and this is dry, then I can glue them both together. And then after that is the next step, which is the decorations that I'm going to add on to this to make it more real life. So everybody, I want to make it look like there's an actual candle inside the lantern, because you want it to be looking a little old-fashioned. So I bought these for 99 cents. I'm going to use a toilet paper roll. And the best thing you can do is, hopefully it fits. I'm hoping it does. If it doesn't, I'll just cut it to make it smaller. Just a tad smaller. Yeah, I have to make it smaller. So I need a battery, I'm sure. I'm sure that's not working. So I'll go like this, put my battery in, make sure it works. So it does, so that's good. So like you can see here, it doesn't fit. So of course I'm going to have to cut it And I want to make sure that it fits perfect, so that when I put hot glue on it, just a tad bigger, because I'm going to put some hot glue on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick some tape on this. This white tape, because I want to use white paint. So how you're going to do that is, like I said, you're going to try to fix it so you know that it fits. Oh, come on. Really? Just let's do it this way. This goes can go away because it's all bent out of shape. So let's try this again. So that's perfect. So what I gotta do now is take the glue gun, and I'm gonna put some glue here on the sides and let it droop down. And then I'm going to spray paint it really quick white. You're not gonna see this part, so I'm gonna put it like this towards the back end of the, I can't even talk right now. First I'm going to put the hot glue on it to make it look like a candle melting, and then I'm going to stick this in the middle of the lantern, but I'm going to put snow in it so that we can just stick it on top, and then you think there's snow inside it, and I think that will look great. So let's try this out. I'm going to use the glue gun now and put the glue around the side, and then I'm going to spray paint it white, and then we can see what we can do after that. So the next step is, so I can see what I'm doing here, I'm going to take my glue gun and I'm going to put glue all around here, the sides here, because I did it again, I'm going too close. I made an indent here for this thing up here so that it sits perfectly in it. So now I'm going to stick my glue. So I'm going to sit here and I make sure that I get it correctly. Yep. In there. So now what I'm going to do is I want to put this, some glue up here too. So I found some extra, let's put it here, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be sticking this from up here and rolling it all the way down to the bottom. So this is what I'm going to be using for my garnish. So this is a good idea to heat up the glue gun. Like I said, there's other ways of making these lanterns. If you can find the things that you need to make it easier. It is a little bit more work with the Pringle boxes, but it still works if you can't afford to get all those wood pieces and all those connections in a real lantern. This is what I could tell you could use. I already had these containers, and you could say I spent probably about $3 or $4 just for this, because I didn't use much paint. There's almost no paint on it, and I'm using stuff that I already had. I didn't have to buy it. So this is what I'm talking about. Recycle, recycle, recycle. Find stuff that you have. So everybody, it's Kat again, and you can see I already started decorating it. I put the vine all around it, and then I put a green ribbon, sorry about that, a green ribbon around it, and now I'm sticking just a little bit of the things here. The top I painted black, not silver, like I said before. I glued it, it's stable, and I tried to dry brush it with white paint to make it look like it's a little bit older. And now I put also white paint on all over the place to make it look like it's snowy. And I also made 2 sets of these candles. One bigger than the other so I can put them inside when I'm done. And now I'm just going to stick little decorations on it. I think that's the best thing to do. I went to my basement, checked out what I had. I think I should maybe stick something red in between. I stuck something here in the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. No, you couldn't. Anyway, I have things like this, but I didn't think that would look good. And I also have, excuse me, these silver balls. I was going to get gold ones, but I didn't. I should have. Should have, could have, would have. Anyway, I did this. In the bottom, I'm going to stick a lot of the greenery here on the bottom, totally on the bottom, so it's covered, so that you don't see the box there. And basically, you could say this is all done. You can do whatever you want. Like I said, I put the tape all around it to make it look like it's wood, so that it looks like it's a little bit older. You can see that it looks pretty cool, I think. And I put a ribbon around it, and I put paint. Here in these areas look a little thin, so I think I'm going to stick some stuff here in this area. Hopefully you can see. Let me put that down just a tad. So, and now I'm going to be gluing some stuff here. Like I said, I fixed it so it's snug so I can just pull it in. And there we go. I think that looks awesome up top. You can also use this for Halloween. Just take all this stuff off and put other decorations on if you want. But here it is. Let me pull you up a little bit further so you can see the lights working. They're twinkling. Let me show you. Yeah, this is how you make a lantern out of scraps that you have at home. Not going out buying everything to make one. Usually they're pretty small up here. I don't want to glue these. I could glue these on the bottom if I wanted to. I may do that because all I have to do is pull out the candle, the part that's with the battery, and it's very easy to pull out. And like I said, I did this here. So, and if you want, you can make this a little bit more stable on the bottom so it doesn't wiggle. But when I filled the box up, I didn't fill it up enough, apparently. So that's fine. It's no problem with me. Like I said, this is going into a corner. And that's it. This is all you have to do to make a lantern on your own out of scraps, recycling stuff that you already have at home. I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up. And Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and all of those fun pages that you can check out, all the extra things that I've done before but I've never had videos for it. Check that out, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. I'd love to have you join my family, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!